and welcome to another Q&A. Alrighty. So anybody new today? Same old, same old. Don't know how long we'll do this. We'll just see depending on how many questions people have. And if you're just looking to hang out here for a little bit, let me know if you can hear me okay. Otherwise I can put some ear pods in. Well, we had somebody pop in and leave right away. Cool. Okay. Since we have only one person in here, one thumbs up, thank you. I am going to grab some water. Hey, Internet Explorer. It's just you and me, buddy. So if you have any questions, I'm going to grab some quick water and then we can chat. Once again, I'm really surprised. Wow, lots of thumbs up today. I was surprised how many people still don't understand how to drink the water. Or they're always trying to modify my protocols. B-Man, hey Greg. That's what B-Man said. Hey Greg, B-Man, why does that sound familiar? B-Man. Not one of those guys from the movie Jackass or something? Is this the real B-Man? Holy cow, if you're in here. Somehow I doubt it. Wow, well, thank you, everybody. We literally got 5 people and 5 thumbs up. That doesn't happen too often. So, guys, this is your time to ask questions. I am going to do the whole blue light blocking glasses again because it actually does really help. It made me feel better blocking the blue light. I know they look funny. Yeah, they really do help. I know they look weird, but oh well, that's what we'll do. Actually, you know what? So any questions, this is your time, guys. This is your time to ask questions. I'd like to do the bubbles, hydrogen bubbles, but a lot of people don't like the bubbles. Well, actually, I wouldn't say a lot. I would just say one person made a comment, so just go with that. Okay. Let's see. My prescriptions have blue light blocking. They aren't sunglasses, though. They are just look normal. That's what I ultimately need, but I just don't want to buy more stuff. I'm a minimalist, and if I can just own one pair, that'd be great. These ones are made more for like riding motorcycles and stuff, but you know, I like them because they strap on my head instead of resting on my nose. If they rest on my nose, they kind of just bother me. I'm really sensitive. I don't actually like things on my fingers or my wrists or my eyes or my face or whatever. Why do you not grow your hair? Well, multiple reasons. I don't know how you know that I don't, but I guess a lot of people have been curious about that. I would say for me personally, one, I just find it extremely comfortable to cut it all. I started doing it when I was going to saunas every day and then doing a lot of exercise. It was just more comfortable. Plus, whenever hair would hit my face, I used to get really bad acne. I don't think that would probably happen much, but it's also a lot cleaner. It feels a lot cleaner. I never have to worry about it. I never have to comb it. Anyway, all that stuff. It looks like we got some other questions. B-Man, what are your thoughts on listening to affirmations in your sleep to reprogram the subconscious mind? Do you think it would affect the quality of sleep? I think that it could potentially be something good. Yeah, in my opinion. And I don't see it as a negative thing per se. Thanks for all the thumbs up again, everybody coming in giving a thumbs up. And do I think it would affect the quality of your sleep? I think it's fine personally. So I think it'd be good. I think what would be more important is to get to sleep at a proper hour and not be exposed to blue light or stuff like that before you go to bed. Northern Yeti says, I've been converting away from LED. Also use night setting on my phone to block blue light. Too much vitamin A makes you sensitive to blue light, or at least it did for me. Yeah, I really need some better blue light glass blockers. I'll find something and see what I'll do in the future. Tom Ashley says, on other videos about hydrogen machines, they indicate the Hydrofix doesn't have enough therapeutic hydrogen. Tom Ash says, what's the problem with buying a machine with oxygen and hydrogen? You can use them separately if you choose. Well, there's been a lot of issues actually, Tom, in regards to this. I was actually thinking about making a video about it today, actually, so funny enough. The biggest issue is that no machine out there except for, there's only one, which I find a little weird, but there's only one machine that's actually lab tested and certified to make the amount of hydrogen that it shows to make. And what I've observed in the US is that, and remember, the Japanese are extremely detail oriented. A lot of people who don't know the culture of the Japanese, they really don't get it. But it's funny because the amount of people who contact me who do understand it, they totally get it. But there's a lot of people who don't understand. And the only machine that is lab tested, lab certified is actually the Hydrofix. There is no other machine. And I don't know why other companies don't do it. I know that there's an expense to it, and I've noticed in the world of quote unquote hydrogen, there's a lot of people trying to cut corners and do it the cheap route instead of the correct route. And then Nicole, I'll answer your question in a second. She just asked one. But basically, the way that people are measuring is incorrect. And the people who claim that the Hydrofix doesn't make enough hydrogen, I hate to say it, but people are really misinformed in the United States. It's gotten worse than even I expected. People, in my opinion, this is not medical advice or medical claims or whatever, and all this is just my opinion, but I have done extensive research on it. And what I've discovered ultimately is that there's a lot of unhealthy ways to use hydrogen, again, in my opinion. And this has been a very big problem in America, and nobody's going to realize for years and years and years. I mean, if it wasn't for me, I don't think anybody would have brought it up. It's the only reason that the conversation is being had. And the Hydrofix it's proven correctly to make specific amounts of hydrogen. And those amounts of hydrogen, I mean, medically, like when I say medically, I'm talking like by the professionals, meaning the #1 university in the world who uses hydrogen medically, uses 130 milliliters per minute of hydrogen gas. The Hydrofix literally is right there. It's like 120 something. So it's just shy of 130. So I hate to say this, but it appears to be the truth that it's companies that are threatened by the Hydrofix. And all these Chinese machines, I've already seen them. I've seen them claim very high numbers, or even whatever number they choose. And then when I see a lab test, they don't even come close to what they're claiming. So, and it's funny, I've seen that in the car world too. You'll see a car that claims to have 700 horsepower, and then you'll have another car with 550, and it will literally surpass, or it's faster, the one with the lower horsepower. And so, unfortunately, I haven't seen anybody pretty much doing it correctly as far as measuring hydrogen and really understanding it. And I think that a lot of what people unfortunately are being told is not the true numbers. And, that's just the way it is. So, yeah. Let's see. Nicole asks, in your last Q&A, you mentioned that stainless steel was not a good quality metal, or did I hear wrong? Well, you're correct. You don't want to make hydrogen using stainless steel. You don't want to make Brown's gas either using stainless steel. Stainless steel is definitely the wrong metal, in my opinion, to make hydrogen, or what people are terming Brown's gas, is definitely not the right metal. And again, metal technology, gosh, these keep fogging up on me. Metal technology is crucial in making hydrogen correctly. So, or in my opinion, what I would call safely, so that would be very, very important. So hopefully that answers everybody's question. Let's see here. Okay. All right. I think that pretty much answers everybody's questions. Thanks again, guys, for all the thumbs up. And in fact, I guess I'm going to grab a little more water actually while I wait. So. Yeah, like I said, I still find it funny that people don't seem to drink the water right. Strange to me, because I feel like we've talked about it enough. Oh, thanks. Guys are still giving thumbs up. And a lot of them. Thank you. Thank you. If you notice, I'll always try to finish it in less than 5 minutes. If I take more than 5 minutes, call me out on it. Let me know. I always like to let it swish in my mouth a little bit before I swallow it. It feels kind of like hydrates the mouth. Plus, it appears to be good for the gums based on a little data that I read. And so I always try to do that. I look like such a bug, but these really do help. I'm a little surprised. I think it's just because it's late at night and the phone is, I tried to turn the brightness down, but it just helps. I don't even, I don't know if there's a science to it, but I can definitely feel it. I have a hard time watching like television too. Television really like, especially when it flashes a lot, kind of feels like it's gonna give me a seizure or something, It's just too much flashing and too much going on, and then these huge TV screens, it's just too much for me. I can't handle that. I don't know what it is. All right, guys. So if you guys have any other questions, let's see. Let's see if I missed any. Oh, Squatch is here, says Northern Yeti. I'm assuming that he's talking about himself. The Refractor OG says the original gangster is here. And then of course B-Man says, hey Greg. And prescription glasses. Yeah, I don't need prescription glasses anymore actually. So that was kind of an interesting one. Yeah, affirmations. Yeah, I haven't listened to affirmations while I sleep. But I do notice that if something's playing like a TV or radio, I tend to like dream about whatever it is that I'm hearing. So that's kind of interesting. Let's see. I also use night settings. Yeah, I tried the night settings. It kind of work. It helps, but I don't know if it's a fix all for me. And yeah, so like I said, I guess that goes over all the questions. So we could make this a short one if that's all the questions everybody has, unless somebody has another question, or we can talk about whatever. I mean, there's clearly no plan on these Q&As. I just had a little bit of time and I thought, okay, I'll fire it up and drink some water. What are your top books you'd recommend? Boy, well, I think we've talked about this one. I mean, yeah, let's see. I personally really think there's a ton of wisdom within the Tao Te Ching. That's a really good book. Obviously, the Bible's a good book. The only problem is I think it's way too complex for most people to understand. So I don't know if I would recommend that. Hidden Messages in Water is pretty good. I think it's good. Is it like one of my top books of all time? Maybe not, but it is a good book. This is obviously my favorite one. We've talked about this, the Essene Gospel of Peace. But yeah, the Tao Te Ching is really good. This one is also, I think, many parts of it are very difficult to understand, and that's going to be an issue for people, in my opinion. So, I think that I also have to be careful about what subjects I want to talk about. There's always stuff I want to talk about, but I do have to be cautious just because of the platform that we're on. I tend to share things that I'm learning about. And lately, I've been working on, well, let's see. Jordan Mason says, I live in an environment that is really cold right now. Do you recommend any grounding sheets or mats? I don't. The reason that I don't is not that I don't believe in grounding, but I do think there's some misconceptions, and there is actually data to support that. And typically when something is too new, I tend to wait until we have more clear data. And that goes for a lot of things. a lot of things, and I won't say which ones, but I'm always very cautious when it comes to, like even when like the Kangen machine came out, I'm always cautious until more data comes out, and clearly more data came out, and clearly Kangen is not the way to go. And it just took time. And eventually, there was a clear amount of data when it came to hydrogen. And even then I still waited. I waited many years to make sure, and I did learn more actually. I've continued to learn more about the safeties of making it, the proper ways of measuring it, all the different things that have come out. And so there are, in my opinion, unhealthy ways of doing grounding. And so, it's a tough one because, yeah, I'm not saying that it's not good. I just think that there still needs to be more data, especially for frequency devices. That's a really big one. Everybody's really into the frequency stuff, and I'm not saying that there won't be really great frequency technology. The Japanese have known about the frequency stuff. They were the first. They were doing some really, really amazing stuff with it. But I found out basically they still hadn't perfected it. And if you don't do it right, it could potentially be harmful. And that's why I'm always really, really cautious about new stuff. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be back in like 10 seconds. All right. So, yeah, so I don't recommend any grounding stuff. And like I said, I find that hydrogen does so many things that it's really been nice to be able to minimize all the things that I need to do. And that's what I'm trying to do, is have the least amount of things I can do for my health. Because otherwise you spend your whole day doing too many things. And so, and by the way, let me know if you're new today. And if you're returning, that you can talk about it too. But it'd be cool to see if anybody here is new today. Okay, Helen says, hello, happy I caught this live stream. I always learn something new. Well, that's very nice, Helen. Good for you to join us. And as you just said, this is just a live stream. We're just kind of hanging out. And we'll just kind of see where it goes. Let's see, what could I talk about? Somebody said just talk about whatever, but what's really, really on my mind? I probably shouldn't talk about what's on my mind. Like I said, I hate to censor myself too. Jordan says, you mentioned no glasses anymore. Did the hydrogen change your eyes? Yes, everything that I've done, my eyes are perfect right now. And I used to have a light prescription. I've known people who've had more than a light prescription and definitely improved their eyesight. So I actually have seen that a lot. It's not something that I expected to see. There's a lot of things that I didn't expect to see when it comes to hydrogen and a healthy lifestyle, quote unquote. But yeah, no more glasses needed. I don't even know if I have them. I might always have them. Where would I put them? Weird. I don't even remember where I have my glasses anymore, my prescription glasses. I could probably look around, but there's probably no need. But that's weird. I do kind of wonder where I put them. It's nice not to need them though. I never liked I didn't like wearing them because they put pressure on my nose and it always kind of feel uncomfortable, give me a headache. I don't know. That's why I have these strapped glasses, because they don't put as much weight on the bridge of my nose. Maybe most people don't have a problem with it, but I don't know why I seem to. Like I said, I'm probably too sensitive. That's why I always wear, I like to have baggy clothes that are loose and comfortable. I don't like anything on my fingers, as you can see, or my wrists, stuff of that nature, so kind of weird, I guess you could say, but yeah, I like to be very, very comfortable. If I could be wearing nothing, that's probably what I would be doing. But and hopefully I will be soon. I want to go to. It's actually a long story, but there is a potential connection that I have of somebody who could potentially dig for a hot spring, and that would be really cool, because then I would be in that all the time. Okay, Jordan Mason says, one of these days I want to hear about your crystal story. You mentioned it once at the end of a live when someone was asking about mineral energy. I do have a crystal story. Well, it's more than a crystal story. I thought I shared it. Actually, I did share it on one of them, but I think I took it down. And if I shared it today, I would probably take this video down, so only the people in here would hear it. It's a strange story. You know, the funny thing about, I don't like to share too much personal stuff, but I guess I could if you guys really want to. Basically, if you really want to know my personality, I'm quite a skeptic. It's a problem, I think, maybe. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I'm definitely a skeptic. And I've had things happen to me that I'm the kind of person that tries to deny that something happened and be like, nah, that wasn't this. No, there's been some stuff that has happened to me that has definitely changed my whole outlook on a lot of things. And that I call it the stone people. The story I had about crystals and stones. Yeah. So I did have one of those. And if I shared it, which I could, I'd probably end up deleting this video. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could, but I think other people already heard it before is the thing. I do have a funny other one. I do have a funny, that one would also probably end up, I don't know if I would delete the video or not. That one that one's really kind of weird. And the problem is that one involves somebody else too. So a lot of my stories, there's been what I would call witnesses. There was people who were there to witness the event just as I did. And you're a critical thinker. That's a good thing, says Helen. Well, I am. I weigh all sides of an argument. I look at every perspective, and I hate to say that it's not that I won't take. Yeah, I mean, I won't necessarily take somebody's word for it. Obviously, it depends on who it is too. But even so, I'm a pretty big skeptic. Yeah, and it's a little overkill, which is why I have to do so much research and really figure out, you know, what's the best depending on what direction I'm going to go. But yeah, I have a pretty neat story about a crystal, but that one unfortunately entails somebody else. And if I were to share that, I'm not sure she would appreciate it because it is wacky, like really crazy. Not that you guys would know who it is anyway, but I guess I don't have to say who it is. Do you believe there's benefits to semen retention? Do I think there's benefits? Well, you know, I would say everything in moderation or everything in balance. So, and in some ways, yes, you know, and in some ways, maybe not. It would just probably depend on the circumstances. I think that it's just very important to get more than that. I think it's just important to get all your nutrients and stay properly hydrated. I think that's important, and not having deficiencies, you know, those type of things. But yeah, everything in balance. Let's see. Somebody said, I haven't heard the crystal story, says Nicole. Yeah, well, I haven't said, well, the one about the big crystal, there was one about a big crystal. I'm sure the person who was there is now watching right now. We called it Gone. It was a big crystal. And that had some wacky stories behind it. And then there was the one where I met what I call the stone people. And they were the ones that just blew my mind. I mean, really, really, really blew my mind. And yeah, and I didn't want, the reason that I'm also kind of waiting on maybe mentioning some of these stories, Norma says, I haven't heard it either. Well, the reason that, again, that I'm kind of waiting on some of these is because I'm considering opening up another channel where I share all the stories. Because it's funny that for a person who is such a skeptic like myself, I've had not just one weird story or two, I have a lot of them. Quite a few, enough to make numerous videos. And so I've been contemplating, when I have more time, to open up a channel and share those stories. So instead of sharing them on this channel, because, you know, this channel, and look, I'm going off of what other people have been talking about, because I used to want this channel to be about whatever I wanted it to be about, whatever was on my mind one day, or stories, or what I'm doing that day, or health stuff, or hydrogen stuff, or water stuff, or different supplements, whatever. I wanted it to be about whatever I wanted it to be. But when I would try that, people would write me, and it's weird. People would be upset, and they would say, look, we signed up for your channel for you to talk about hydrogen. Otherwise, we're all just going to leave. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the channel. And so people were suggesting, look, if you want to talk about other stuff, why don't you open up a separate channel where other people would be interested in that? So that's what I've been leaning towards, is, you know what, I'm just going to make a separate channel so the people who are interested can hear not just the stories. There's other stuff I want to share with you guys. And I do plan on opening it probably by April or May is what I'm thinking about doing it. So that's my initial thought. Thanks again for all the thumbs up. Everybody's been doing that, so thank you. So Norma says, I haven't heard it either, Greg. And Norma says, that's fascinating. Do it. Yeah. Well, and then Internet Explorer says, yes, can't wait for your second channel. Yeah, that's what I've been leaning towards. And I'm going to do what I'd like to do. I don't want to open up 3 channels, because I also want to do, Helen says, go for it. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been kind of leaning towards. Sorry, these things keep fogging up. And yeah, maybe I should get I think I thought I had another pair. But anyway, yeah. So the other channel that I've been debating on creating was, I've been wanting to I want to explore waters, some of the best waters in the world. And I was going to open up a channel and then start with most likely Japan. There's some pretty cool waters in the US too, but most likely Japan is where I really, really wanted to go. And I was thinking about opening up a channel about that. But I didn't want to open up that one and then all the stories. I'd rather just open up one other one and kind of do whatever I want, which is what this channel was supposed to be, but it clearly became the hydrogen channel. That's what everybody seemed to be interested in. And so that's the route that I went down. But yeah, I think the next one's going to be about Japan stories, but it's also going to be a lot about, at least the intention or the vision that I have for it is going to be kind of a journey that I'm embarking on. I embarked on a journey a long time ago, and I'm on this journey, but I'm going to take it definitely to another level. I've been like almost prepping my body to be able to go on the next part of this quote unquote journey, if you want to call it that. But I haven't shared much of that with you guys. And so if I open up the new channel, I'll share more thoughts on that for those people who are interested. And I'll just keep this channel about water, hydrogen, different things that are good for your health, maybe supplements that I run into, anything that I can find to improve on health in the most simplest manner. That's what I want to do. I want to keep it always extremely simple. And for anybody new coming into the room, if you're wondering why I'm wearing these, it's to block the blue light, because it's nighttime and I'd like to not, it bothers my eyes a little bit. So this just kind of helps. Okay, I'm going to grab a little more water again. For those of you, I know that people know how to drink this, but some people still don't. So let's get some. You'll always notice I'll try to drink it in less than 5 minutes, but usually less than 2. I like to swish around my mouth. Hopefully you guys learn how to drink it. Okay. You can call your second channel The Skeptic. That might be good. I mean, and I am. I mean, I really am. That's a really, really big problem. It just takes too much to convince me. It's one of the reasons somebody asked which books I like. That's why I'm actually so in awe by this book. I was extremely skeptical of this story. But like I said, there was some things in here that I found out to be true. And once I realized that that was true, it kind of, I'm still skeptical though, actually. But I tend to believe more of what's in here than I did before. Um, so yeah, and this stuff, I was totally skeptical about the water book too. I was skeptical about that, but you know, I was trying to keep an open mind. But I think all we've really learned is that water is quite magical, and in time, we will most likely learn more about water. But yeah, that's interesting. The skeptic. Oh boy, that would be a mess, huh? I would probably be denying almost everything. Though there's a lot of things I will say these days. There's so many things that are considered conspiracy theories that have really been proven themselves to be true. And so, you know, I do believe a lot of the stuff out there these days, and it's gotten weirder and weirder. And but I definitely believe it because there's a lot of good stuff that's come out. Elizabeth says, I'm new to the channel, so you likely covered it. Your thoughts on store-bought hydrogen water? Numerous thoughts on it. One, in my opinion, it's the most expensive way to get hydrogen. Two, you're most likely not going to get a very high quality hydrogen water, but ultimately it's just going to be very expensive and you're not really going to get all the hydrogen that you're thinking. I've seen hydrogen water from the store be tested, and the problem is that you can't really hold hydrogen in water for very long. I mean, if you saw me just a little bit ago, I mean, I poured hydrogen water and I make sure to finish it in less than 2 minutes. How long do you think that water at the store is sitting on the shelf? It's the most expensive way to get hydrogen water. And I think it really depends on what you're wanting to do. If you just want to like drink it once or something, okay, no big deal. If you're really serious about it and you want to get like extremely good benefits, then you know you're going to want something like, the funny thing about even the device that I have, this machine, after all the research I've done, all the machines that I've purchased, and I spend way too much money on these hydrogen machines, and if anything, it's going to probably help a lot of people save money. I found that basically most of them are unreliable. They all end up having issues in time, and usually sooner than what you would think. And this one has turned out to be extremely reliable. Of course, I discovered by talking to the company and whatnot, they focused highly on making it reliable. They did a bunch of stress tests on it. And it's like the Toyota of hydrogen machines. That's what I've discovered. It's just been great. It's been really reliable for me. And because you're going to use it for the long haul, at least that would be the goal, this actually has ended up being the cheapest way to do it. That's the crazy part. This one ends up being the cheapest. Cheaper than buying it, kind of like buying bottled water. It's also the most expensive way, and you're not going to get the highest quality. You're better off just getting your own carbon distiller. I've discovered that you can make the cleanest water, and it will basically start saving you money after 6 months. It pays for itself after that amount of time. And the other thing that you can't do with the water from the store, well, one, I don't even know what kind of water they're using to put the hydrogen into. But the other issue is you can't inhale the hydrogen gas, and that's going to be of huge benefit too. So, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the stuff from the store. So that's just my opinion. And I'm not even a huge fan of bottled water. If that's what we can get, great. But, you know, so that's my opinion on store-bought hydrogen water, Elizabeth. Okay, Jordan says, have you watched Veda Austin's work with water? No, I haven't. But I've seen a lot of people's work, and so far, and a lot of people say, hey, you should see this guy. And so far, I haven't been that impressed with most of what I've seen. Justin T. Campbell says tremendous. Okay, I must have said something I was probably replying to. Yeah, the skeptic, the water skeptic. At least I used to be, but now, you know, I totally get it. I understand that water is extremely important for our health. It's one of the biggest no-brainers in my opinion. It's something, in my opinion, that can make you sick or really prevent sickness or, you know, bring upon good health. And yeah, I can't say enough about water. I mean, I think we've talked about it numerous times. So yeah, hopefully that answers everybody's questions. I probably need to do more of these lives in different hours of the day because I think there's a lot of people out there, you know. Jordan says she has taken Emoto's work way beyond. That's how wild and interesting it is. Okay, I can maybe check it out. And then of course, Lori Hugg says, "Are you familiar with Dr. Thomas Cohen?" Well, I mean, I could pull some of these up. All right, since you guys and by the way, this happens constantly. I get people constantly. I get emails. Do you know this person? Do you know that person? And every time I make the effort to really look into them, most of the time I hate this. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative, but most of the time I'm just not that impressed, and I don't learn too much. Um, and a lot of times they're wrong because I know about water and I've seen how wrong they've been about a lot of things. But okay, let's go ahead and do this. Let's look up Veda Austin. Let's see, Veda Austin. Let's see what they're all about. And Veda Austin, the secret intelligence of water. Okay, it already looks like I'll have to do a lot of reading on that one, so I'll keep that pulled up and I'll look into it more later. Now let's look into Dr. Thomas Cohen. Okay, Dr. Thomas Cohen. Let's see what this guy's all about. Maybe I even know him. Is an American practitioner of alternative medicine, author, conspiracy theorist, former medical doctor, and he relinquished his medical license. Let's see. Improve ecological, blah, 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 alternative medicine. Okay, so I'll have to, he has a book, a biography. Well, see, this is the thing too, believe it or not. It's funny because a lot of these so-called, well, a lot of these alternative doctors, even MDs, you'd be surprised, but I've had so many of them contact me and they ask me for help. And I find that funny because I've met numerous ones too that are like, do you realize that what you know is something that really needs to be learned by numerous practitioners? And so I find that funny, but I'll read about it. And yeah, let's see here. It says here that he specializes in diet and natural medicine. And, that would probably make sense. Diet, in my opinion, is a part of it. The only problem is that everybody disagrees about what the best diet is. So, but I will tell you, people can talk, like Lori says, he talks about water a lot. Well, water is important, but I would say the majority of the doctors out there, in my opinion, are not making the water the right way. And they definitely don't know how to use hydrogen the right way. I've seen numerous of them use it the wrong way, and I've seen their patients get sick. And then they've contacted me, and they're like, why is it that this is making them sick? And then one of the first questions I always ask them is, what equipment are you using? And I would say every single time, I don't even think there was one time that it wasn't true. They were always using the wrong equipment. I'm like, what are you doing using this? And they trusted somebody. They didn't do their own research. And I've seen this a lot. In fact, there's a guy, I don't even want to say his name, but he is a doctor. He's a huge name out there right now. His name, I can say what it starts with, but then you guys are going to guess, and then it's going to all turn, it's going to go sideways here. But he is selling a product that has to do with hydrogen, and he clearly either doesn't, I know he doesn't know what he's talking about. I know that the product is actually not good because I've known numerous people who were actually, there's not a medical claim or anything, but they didn't do so well. It was actually harming them in their blood work. And I don't think he's ever even looked at what he's really truly selling. So, this is where I get weary. People don't do enough research. And when it comes to hydrogen, there's so much to learn. And if somebody just gives you the answers like me, it's easy because I've done the research. And we have a Q&A right now. You guys could ask me questions about hydrogen, but maybe you already know all the answers by now. But, clearly these guys didn't do their homework. And that's a problem, in my opinion, because people trust these doctors and these people. And, I definitely have not found them to be correct. But I can research these guys. I got them pulled up on the computer, so I'll look into them, quote unquote, next time. Let's see here. Roderick says, would you make a book review of the Essene Gospel of Peace and maybe explain things we might not understand? I thought about doing that, and that might be a good idea. Here, I'll tell you the truth about this. It's not that I'm not willing to disclose what I discovered, because I know I uncovered something in this book that I know at this time I would be willing to bet a lot that there's nobody who's figured it out. And I'm not trying to be arrogant about that, but there's certain things that you just couldn't figure out unless you had certain experiences. And if you were to understand it without the experiences, I would be absolutely shocked. I mean, absolutely shocked. I just don't think that would be possible. I really don't. In fact, I mean, there's a book, called The Gospel of Thomas, or I'm sorry, Gospel of James, James the Just. And like I said, the very beginning of the book says, "He who penetrates the meaning of these words shall not taste death." So, I mean, to really penetrate the meaning of certain words, it's not easy. And certain things would have to happen. But yeah, that's a good suggestion. And that's something that I would do on the new channel. And when I do move or go to some places where I want to go to, I'll bring this with me. I'll try to remember to bring this with me. And I will do a review on the new channel about it, which I don't think will be of much interest to many people. I really don't. But the thing that I've really been waiting for more than anything is being on a very, very large platform. Because once I release the information, I know that people are going to take with it, run with it. It's happened to me so many times. There's people who know me who they're like, "Dude, you got to stop talking about certain things because nobody knows where it's coming from, and too many people take credit for it." And it's already out there, and that goes for a lot of things. But anyway, and if you're really interested in it, I mean, you can always email me, and we could maybe have a conversation. But I'm not sure if I would do that yet either. Okay, let's see. Helen says, "I'm battling glaucoma. Be drinking 1.5 to 2 liters of hydrogen water a day, inhalation for 45 to 90 minutes a day. How long before a change in my eyes? I ask because my eyes feel better lately." Well, it depends. In my opinion, it can depend, one, on how long have you had the glaucoma. And again, I may look like a weirdo, guys. I'm just blocking the light for all the new people in the room so I can sleep when it's time to go to bed. I think it depends on how long you've had the glaucoma. I think, in my opinion, clean water is important because if there's things in the water that are also harming you or causing more inflammation, I think you'll get better results if you have clean water. And then the same thing goes for, what I would even call like an anti-inflammatory diet, rather than an inflammatory diet. I've known people who've gotten results, like they felt differences in their eyes literally in a month and a half. A good month and a half, things begin to change. And then it all depends, the numbers that I've seen is I've seen some improvement in 3 months. I've seen the biggest stuff in the 6 to 8 months is where I've really seen a lot of the big shifts. But there are things that have taken longer, like 3 years for my father's glaucoma, but he had it for like 30 years. There are instances where I've seen 1.5 years, somebody who had macular degeneration, but they really hit it hard. I mean, they were like inhaling all the time. They were working or watching TV. I mean, they were just constantly inhaling and drinking a lot of water. They went all out. So they really, really went big on that one. So yeah, it was pretty big. Let's see here, and I can get back to that. Hybrid says, "I'm interested in the review." Yeah, okay. We'll talk about it. Let's see. Norma says, "What's your thoughts on probiotics? Is it part of your health regimen?" It's not. And not to say that probiotics are not good. I mean, they're great. The reason that I just don't really feel that they're that necessary for me anymore, is because, one, hydrogen is absolutely incredible for the gut. And you need to feed specific good gut bacteria regularly for them to really do a really great job, rather than come in and then go out. And I have done tons of research on the gut, the microbiome, and it really depends on what you're feeding it. And it appeared the bacteria, there was a really interesting study. I wish I could give you the full details on it. I could tell you the gist of it though. And I was quite shocked about it. Depending on what you're eating, it clearly affects your gut flora. And in this particular study, they were looking for like these spikes of certain like toxins that were not really good. I think there was a relation between like cancer and some of this stuff. What was really interesting about this study was they would feed the people specific foods and see the spike. And they were like, okay, so we clearly know that these foods are causing a spike. And I believe the food was specific. I think it was meat in this particular study. They would do things like vegetables and you wouldn't get the spike. But here's where it got interesting. They took a large number of people, and half of the group, they specifically got people who really ate a lot more like me, which is just fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, potatoes. Like this is the kind of food that they would eat for years and years and years. And the other people ate a very conventional diet. Now, here's where it got really weird. And I was like, whoa. And this was an actual scientific study. It was really impressive. They would give the whole group meat. The meat eaters would get that spike of the toxin, just like they always do. But these people who were eating plants didn't. And I thought, that doesn't even make any sense. How can they not get the spike? They took the meat eaters and they also gave them antibiotics. And then they would feed them the meat, and then the spike wouldn't happen. They realized that it was a bacteria that was reacting. What they ultimately discovered is, because of the way these people ate, technically, if you eat plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, potatoes, these type of foods, and that's what you eat most of the time, and it's affecting your microbiome and even the bacteria that really proliferate in the gut versus other bacteria that don't. If you eat fish once in a while or meat, you really wouldn't get that spike apparently, because you don't really have those bacteria in there because you haven't really been feeding your gut this very often. So it was fine. But if you ate it regularly, it didn't seem to be as good. So that was something that really shed light on just some of the things. I mean, really what I really took a lot of my dietary ideas from. Now, remember, I'm a skeptic. So I saw a lot of dietary ideas in this book, and I was skeptical. But then I also found scientific data, and I matched them up, trying to look at it from different perspectives, and then even people from certain countries that eat that way and how long they live. I took it all together, and that's how I came up with my protocols, and I've definitely seen them work. I mean, I wish I had. I've been looking. I actually lost it. I had pages of blood work because somebody wanted to see it. Now I can't find it, but I'm going to find it. But I remember looking clearly through it. I mean, it was when a doctor recently called me and they wanted to know what I was doing. And then because it looked so good, I was asking them, I said, you know what, can you like mail it to me or something? So that way I can have it, because people are always asking and I never have it on me. I just kind of just remember it. Okay, let's just see what's next. Somebody asked. So I just don't think the probiotics are totally necessary. You can do it once in a while and all that stuff, but I think it's just better to have a healthier lifestyle that feeds healthy gut bacteria. And obviously, hydrogen water has been shown to be amazing for that too. So that's all I do. I don't even do probiotics anymore. Okay, wow. I'm not imagining things then, says Helen. Oh, no, you definitely aren't. In fact, there was somebody recently there's always people having very interesting stuff. So keep it up, Helen. That's the one thing I will tell you. Don't fall off the wagon. That's been one of the biggest things that I see when people have to start over again. Keep your machine clean, proper hydrogen protocol, clean water, and as clean a diet as you can. Try to go organic as much as possible. Northern United says, I like resistant starch for a healthy gut. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I've seen data on it. Resistant starch, basically, like baking a potato or something, and then you cool it down. I put them in my salad. So I put cold potatoes in my salad. I put sauerkraut, avocado. I'll put different nuts in there, sometimes pistachios or sometimes macadamia nuts, whatever, those type of things. Okay, let's see here. Internet Explorer says, is it normal to hear the hydrogen when you pour it in a cup? It sounds like pressured air. Yeah, a little bit, just because of the way that the lid is on the device. Okay, let's see. Well, depending on the machine, but if you got the same machine I do, then yes. Miss April says, hello, H-Man. Have you heard of Paul Saladino and his opinion on plant lectins? Yes. And actually, let's see. Hold on, Paul Saladino, because the guy, yeah, I have heard that name, but I believe it was Dr. Gundry who came up with that whole thing first. But yeah, Paul Saladino. But yes, I've heard about that, and I wouldn't buy into it too much, to be honest, because look at the research, and it's not just research. I mean, there's actual scientific data. Look into a doctor called Dr. Greger. I like this guy. He shows you how to actually read scientific studies, because a lot of them can be biased and depending on who's funding them. So he shows you certain things to look for, and he shows a lot of really great data. And that's all he is. He's just all about the data, and that's what I like about him. You can find him on YouTube under nutritionfacts.org. That's the name of his YouTube channel. I like that guy's stuff. I still wish he learned about water and stuff because I've tried to get a hold of him. In fact, everybody in here, if everybody messages him and says, talk to the hydrogen man, that'd be awesome because I've been wanting to talk to that guy. I feel like combining a lot of his knowledge with what I got going on would be extremely important. And I also think, look, you can find negative things, by the way, about any food. You can talk about lectins, you can talk about oxalates, you can talk about IGF-1 from, the meat, the dairy, the seafood, the eggs, or too much fat and cholesterol or whatever. You can always find something negative. So again, life is all about balance. And I think it's ultimately what you are trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? What you're trying to achieve. Because I'm eating with certain goals in mind. And it's not like I could never eat meat and stay healthy. I could, but I'm doing other things. But okay. So I don't know if that answers your question. If it doesn't, Miss April, then ask, again in greater detail. Northern Yeti says, I think they can call that factor 7 from the meat. Something like that anyway. Blood clotting effects for a few hours after each meal. Think I saw that from Pritkin's study. Oh yeah, you're probably talking about the one with the that I was talking about, some type of spike and some type of toxin. And I was shocked, but it really started to validate the way that I view things. But what it really shows me, because I do believe that some people could have a very healthy diet with lots of fruits and vegetables, again, the nuts, seeds, beans, potatoes, and still have seafood once in a while, some dairy once in a while, some meat once in a while, just not as often as people do. I know that viewing the way the Japanese eat, because they live longer than anybody in any industrialized nation in the world, and they eat so many vegetables, but they don't just eat vegetables. They have a pot usually. I'll be showing you guys in the future. I've done a video about it before. And all these raw vegetables, and you put them right in there and they're cooking and you're eating them right then and they're really fresh. And they're all about into the fresh stuff, and that's very important for health too, in my opinion. Okay, let's see. Shannon says, yes, love Dr. Greger. See, I like that guy. And he's not selling products like Dr. Gundry and a lot of these people. So I think that's really commendable. And even if he sold some supplements like vitamin D and stuff, I'd be fine with it. I don't care. People tend to judge people if they're just selling stuff. And as long as the products are good, that's the important part. Who cares if they're selling it? Miss April says, yes, that was helpful. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad you answered your question. Northern Yeti says, I also saw somewhere that fruits in particular produce hydrogen with a healthy gut biome. Yeah. That's true. And like I said, I really think the things that I have found that seem to be helpful are fibers from fruits and vegetables. And also I think exercise. These things seem to be really good, but obviously hydrogen, water. And I think the intention, again, this is the whole reason behind the people in Lourdes, France, really having a lot of faith in the water over there. But I think having that hydrogen along with the belief system, because the water reacts depending on your thoughts, words, emotions, stuff like that. So intention is important. Okay, Shannon says, can you speak to the issue of cooked vegetables and destroying the food value? Not sure when I am cooking too much. This is a tough one. It's a real tough one, because this is where I get it's difficult, because I would say that this book would say, don't cook your vegetables pretty much at all. However, I've seen data that if you just cook them very briefly and you consume them rather rapidly, that might be ideal, at least with some vegetables, maybe not every vegetable. I know I tend to go off of just what I like. I like raw spinach. I just like it like that. Cooked spinach is just kind of, maybe in an omelet or something, which I really don't eat very often. But yeah, beets. A lot of people cook beets. I like them raw. I find crunchy and sweet, and I like to grind them up in my smoothies. If you guys have seen those videos, I think if you're gonna cook vegetables, my opinion is consume them rapidly. So don't cook them and then put them in the fridge and leftovers, the next day or the next day. I think it's something to be eaten more rapidly. And I am going to be doing some really great videos, which will probably not, well, maybe I'll do some on this channel. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to show you, I'm going to show more food when I am traveling, especially in Asia. I'm going to show you like traditional foods that are more healthy, because of course they've been westernized also. But I'm going to show you guys some cool stuff, so definitely stay tuned for that. I think I'm going to show you some really neat stuff. But I really like the hot pots with the massive amounts of vegetables, guys. I'm going to be showing you guys lots of vegetables and beans, and then fermented foods. And those are the kind of things that I like. And I do like when they have like miso soup, because it's warm and you have a little bit of it before you really start the meal to kind of bring heat to the stomach, you know, heat it up. Little things like that. I've noticed there's a lot of wisdom in the way they do things in Japan. So I'll be sharing a lot about that with you. I'm going to grab a little more water again. Keep asking questions. I'll be back in a second. Should probably reload this, but I'll reload it after I drink this water. If I take longer than 5 minutes to drink that, somebody call me out on it, because I'm always trying to finish it in less than 5. It's very stable the way that the Hydrofix makes it, so the hydrogen's not leaving in like 5 seconds or anything. I needed that. When I talk a lot, like on these videos, obviously my throat gets dry. Boy, I really like that stuff. Yes, you guys probably already know. Water, I'm like a plant. We're all like plants. Need that water. Okay, let's see. Somebody says, not sure when I'm cooking them too much. Shannon, I tend to steam vegetables using distilled water. Wow, that's impressive. I've done that before. These days I'm using that's probably the best. I'm just using probably filtered water, because distilled water is well, it's not that expensive, I guess. I just only have so much of it, so I tend to use it for drinking and inhaling. But for cooking, I also have an RO system. So I have a carbon filter, I have an RO filter, I have carbon gravity nano filters, I have distillers, obviously. So I kind of have all water filtration modalities. Some more for emergencies, some definitely just for drinking. Yeah, I'm a water connoisseur. You guys know this. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. Let me fill up this machine. You guys can ask more questions. Give me a second. I got my clean water down here, as you can probably see. I just washed my pitcher today. There we go. Okay, let's see here. Thanks again, everybody, for the thumbs up. It's good for the algorithm. Okay, let's see. Miss April says, any resources, information on how to balance hormones and cortisol? Yes, well, this has been what I've seen. See, here's one of the problems. You might be able to actually read about this. There is something that I think something that throws off hormones is consuming hormones. If you think about it, think about something like steroids. When people use steroids, it shuts down certain production of certain hormones in the body. And then when you stop using them, it's really hard for the body to get back where it should be. So I tried to get off of basically all foods that have hormone in them. And I've been doing that for a long time. And it's been really great. I feel like my body's balanced out more. But for you, a simpler answer for you, Miss April, would probably be hydrogen. And I say hydrogen because I've known people who've had hormone problems. In fact, numerous stories come to mind, but there was one that this girl had hormone issues for years. And man, she tried everything. This girl was like different diets. She had actually she was a rep with the Kangen company, so she definitely tried the Kangen water for a long time. She tried healers and gurus and I mean, all sorts of stuff. Nothing could fix her issues. And I felt pretty bad for her. Of course, I ended up meeting somebody who, who knew her, who knew me, and she did hydrogen with the Hydrofix, and it took her about 6 to 8 months and completely resolved her problem that she had had for years and years and years and years. Nothing could fix it. And she was all into the herbs. I mean, she was into everything health related, and she couldn't fix it. And in the end, clean water and clean, properly made hydrogen, and it totally resolved her problem. So that was pretty remarkable. And if you do have hydrogen, I'd be very curious, let me know also. So it might be another testimonial, but I've heard those same testimonials many times. Let's see, somebody says, Norma says, there's no shame in having things you enjoy. Well, Norma, whatever you want to believe. I don't have to go into that because, I mean, you start making excuses so that you can have things that you call enjoyment, and what if they end up leading down a path that is just not very good for you? But it all depends. All things in balance. So it just kind of depends. I have my own, I'm kind of strict with myself, not as much with others. I mean, whatever anybody wants to do with their life, they will be the ones who suffer the repercussions. What I try to enjoy is I try to enjoy simple and healthy things rather than making excuses for unhealthy things. But I do some things that are unhealthy, but I never I never make excuses about them. I know that they're not good for me, but I will do them periodically. Okay, let's see. Shannon says, I have a dear friend who has recently been told that he needs a heart transplant. He is not going to go through with it. Ooh. It sounds like me. What is the best advice I could give him? Well, Shannon, in my opinion, remember, I had a heart condition too. Me personally, you want to do a type of lifestyle that takes pressure off the heart. That's my opinion, which means not only proper hydration. Watch my video 68. Look at the way the blood moves with and without hydrogen water. Hydrogen has been amazing for the heart. What I would do is I would be hydrogen water, hydrogen gas inhalation. Hopefully his kidneys are healthy. And I would definitely change my diet. There's lots of clear evidence. I mean, by the way, just tons of clear evidence in regards to heart health. Watch Dr. Greger's YouTube channel. It's what's it called? nutritionfacts.org, and put heart or cardiology. He shows clear evidence. And dietary with the hydrogen and clean water, that's what I would personally do. I don't know what his heart condition is though, so this is not medical advice and anything like that. You're asking what I would do, that's what I would 100% do. I wouldn't overeat. I don't know the situation, so I don't know if they're telling him not to exercise. He might even consider eating natto, which I show in video 396. Watch that video, because of the way that it actually thins the blood. So again, everything would be about taking pressure off the heart and introducing hydrogen also to help potentially make it heal. I mean, it healed my heart and other people who I've known. Oh, wow. Somebody just gave some money here. Let's see. Holy cow. Norma says, Greg, you recently mentioned boron was good for balancing hormones. Yeah, that also. I think boron would absolutely be very important. Well, overcoming any deficiency, in my opinion, is always going to be at the top of your list, so that if it's something related to a deficiency, because the thing is, when you go to the doctor, quite oftentimes is they can't really tell you why something happened. They'll be like, oh, geez, you have a heart problem. Or, oh, geez, you have scurvy. We don't know why you have it. Obviously, we already know nowadays that scurvy is related to a deficiency in vitamin C. But what I'm saying is, instead of trying to figure out, you're not going to find potentially the source of the problem. So I always start with, clean water, best hydrogen, and overcome your deficiencies, which is what I use the iShopPurium.com, because I like the power shake for overcoming deficiencies, which I show on video 396. And then my vitamin D3 with K2 I have a video on that from the Concentrace company. I like those. And then boron's been really, really fantastic, obviously, for it's good for what they call the sexual hormones. But I mean, I think it'd be worth a shot, and it's not expensive. So, okay. Let's see here. Numbnuts gave $4.44 and said, "You're appreciated." Wow, Numbnuts, thank you. And just so everybody knows, I'm not calling him Numbnuts. That's his name on here. And for all the newcomers, yeah, I'm wearing these to block the light, so I can sleep at night, the blue light. Okay, so they're like, "What's going on with that weirdo?" Okay, thanks for the reminder, by the way, Norma. Okay, Mewy Mew says, "What to look for when purchasing a machine?" Whew, well, lots of stuff. Quite honestly, right now, well, which machine are you talking about? Are you talking about a machine for water filtration, or are you talking about a machine for hydrogen, or are you talking about something else like a blender? Because I'm really big in a high quality blender too. So you let me know which one, and we'll talk about Mew Mew, and we'll come back to it. Norma, Greg, I was referring to you having all the different water filtering modalities when I said no shame in having things you enjoy. Oh, I see. Now I see what you're saying, Norma. I didn't get all of them because I enjoy it. I've just been trying different things and learning about different things. And ultimately, that's a huge reason why I make the channel too, is to save you guys money so that you don't have to try all these different ones. You could just buy the right one right off the bat. I need to make a new video about all my water filters and which one I think is just the best, and you don't need to buy a bunch of them. Or just purposes for having certain ones. Like the gravity filters are not my favorite, but they're good to have around because in case of emergencies or camping, so that kind of stuff. So, but thank you for clarifying that, Norma. GC118 says, "Hey Greg, I'm listening to you while riding a bus home from New York City." Cool. Wow. GC118 says again, "How would you recommend shopping for natto? Is there something specific to look for?" Well, I would look to see where it's made. I would not get any from China. No offense to China, but I would not get any natto from China. I would look for stuff that's organic, or I would look for stuff from Japan. The Japanese, even if it does not show organic, they make a huge effort into not using pesticides or significantly minimizing them. And I've seen products from Japan, especially like herbs and like green tea, lab tested with all sorts of other teas, even ones that are claimed to be organic, and even from China. And the Japanese ones scored the best. So that's what I would look where it's from. That would be a big thing. GC118 says, "Grace." Mio Mio says, "Hydrogen, thanks." Oh, okay. Well, the things that you want to look for hydrogen, there's a lot of things you want to look for, but it gets a little complicated. The simple answer, obviously, is I haven't found that many machines that are really great, but I want to make both the water at a certain quality and the gas inhalation. And obviously the best, I choose the best, and that's the Hydrofix, which is from a website called holyhydrogen.com. If you want a coupon or discount code, let me know and I can give you one. There was another machine from Japan, I believe it was called Gouda, but that machine had reliability problems. The Japanese from that company tried to, as a lot of companies do, they tried to get stuff outsourced to China for some of their parts, and they had reliability problems. It made water that was, in my opinion, relatively safe, quote unquote. But, yeah. There was another machine, I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but it was more like, these days I think they were like $8,000 to $10,000, and it only made the hydrogen gas inhalation. And you really want both. You want the gas and the water. So, and you definitely want to look at the metals. You never want to get anything, in my opinion, that uses stainless steel or lye or plated metals, which is what a lot of companies do. And they just use lousy metal technology. You'll typically see, like a lot of the cheap ones, they use a circle with a bunch of holes punched in it. And yeah, basically, if you want something, I would get something that's really good, that will last a long time, because it's going to end up being the cheapest actually in the long term. And that would be the Hydrofix. I mean, that's what I use. So, and that's what I definitely recommend. I only recommend what I use, guys. You'll probably learn that. I think we've talked about that before. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, meow meow. I'll ask again. GC118 says, also, when you make your shakes, are you methodical about the food combo or do you just put whatever is healthy? You know, GC118, I just put in whatever, you know? I mean, people complain about like, oh, you're you're matching this food with that food. Look, I don't want to overcomplicate it. I'm just trying to get some fruits and vegetables in me. I know about certain foods. Like I know the carrots are extremely good for you, and guess what? They happen to be really cheap. You can buy big bags of organic carrots really cheap, so I put those in my smoothie. Celery is obviously really, really good. I throw that in the smoothie. Beets, you know, we obviously we know they're good for your liver. I like that they're really rich in their color. They really stain, you know, but I just, and I can get them quite inexpensively, a big bunch of them. So I use those too. I try to use stuff that's cheap. I don't get like super exotic fruit that's crazy expensive. In fact, one of the ones that I use in my smoothie that I never could because of the price would be blueberries. We all tend to know that blueberries are extremely good for you. Lots of research on them. Again, they're very dark color and they stain really good, you know, which I think is typically a good sign. But you buy these little tiny containers of them, they're crazy expensive. I would never be able to afford to be putting that kind of stuff in my smoothie every day. However, I found the place that sells organic blueberries, big bags of them for like $8. So I'm like, oh yeah, of course I'm gonna put that in my smoothie. So a lot of it was based on price and just accessibility. And I just try to put, you know, what I can. Definitely try to get the green, the rich leafy greens. I don't think that most people, excuse me, I don't think most people just consume enough vegetables. So that's what I had to do for me to consume enough vegetables. Hopefully that answers your question, GC 118. And but it's the powders. I also have to put the powder because I know those foods are not going to have enough nutrients for me. And so, you know, that's why I do the purium powder, high purity. It's in the name, purium. Everything I try to do is high purity if you're really trying to either stay healthy or heal, ultimately. Okay, Internet Explorer says, I get natto from H Mart. They're $3 for a pack of 4. There you go. Just check to see where they're made. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the Asian food markets tend to have natto and good stuff. Numbnuts, frozen bags of blueberries are inexpensive. Well, see, that's what I'm buying now. I buy them frozen, as I do with strawberries. I'm not putting strawberries in my smoothie, but I do eat them in other ways. What else do I buy frozen? Broccoli. I do sprout, usually my own broccoli seeds. I just try to throw in there as much as like, I always have to get a banana in there just because of the flavor though. But I could do it without a banana, but I tend to put a banana in there. Well, you guys have seen my smoothie video, specifically 396. And now see, I just threw natto in there. I mean, I don't think anybody's ever put natto in a smoothie like I did. But that's something that I've been doing now for quite some time because of the benefits of natto. And I used to have in my meals too, but you know, I would say, you know, natto is extremely good for you. And if you can eat it in other ways, great. But I throw it in a smoothie, you know, rich in vitamin K, really great protein, really good for your gut microbiome. Again, live food. Holy cow! Somebody just gave me $10 and said thank you. I think it was Miss. Let's see. I think it was Miss Amy. Miss someone. It doesn't show me the whole name, but I think it was. Let me see. Let me see if I can see who it was. You gotta give her a shout out. Wow, you guys are extremely kind. I did not expect that. Obviously, I don't do this for that, but thank you, guys. Oh, Miss April. Miss April, well, thank you very much. She says thank you. Miss April, thank you so much. That's very kind of you guys. Let's see here. I will put that to good use, and I will probably put it to buying my ingredients for my smoothie because, you know, actually, I went to go buy stuff today. You know what I didn't buy? Now I want to write it down on my list. I do like fermented garlic. If you guys have seen that black garlic, I used to have a tub of it here, but I finished it. I need to go get more of that. I like that stuff. My mouth is watering. It's like dessert. I like to find healthy desserts. Okay, let's see. GC118 says, yes, I do the same, healthy and economical. Yeah, because if I'm picking the most expensive ingredients for my smoothie, it's gonna get real expensive. Probably the most expensive stuff that I do, you know, the rich leafy greens are actually get kind of spendy, but I gotta have those. And probably my powders, but my powders are not too bad, and they really do fall into the line of my multivitamin. So, you know, it's like when it comes to deficiencies, that's kind of where I have to draw the line as far as like I have to spend so much money on certain supplements to make sure I'm not deficient. I'm really, really big on not having deficiencies, guys. I just think it's so important. Um, and then you have to absorb them properly, which is the whole reason the doctor who contacted me was like, how are you getting these levels in your body? What are you doing to, you know, get this type of absorption, especially when they found out the foods that I don't eat, because they were asking me all sorts of questions. And of course, I attribute a lot of it to the hydrogen water, again, proper hydration, lots of fiber, proper minerals. I just think all of it is important. But okay, let's see here. Shannon says, what's the deal with fermented garlic? I think I'd like it. Oh, it's unbelievable. Now, granted, look, I've seen studies on it for specific things. As an antibiotic, because garlic can be a natural antibiotic, which is pretty awesome. There's actually interesting studies that have been done in regards to cancer, like even as a preventative, like take a piece of garlic and eat one clove every morning, chop it up, whatever, swallow it with a smoothie or water, almost like a pill. Do that every day for 1 week. And apparently that will help you reduce your risk of most likely getting cancer for years to come. And that was pretty wild. Very interesting study in regards to that. The fermented garlic, though, begins to turn black. I believe they call it black garlic. I could pull up some pictures. I wish I had some with me. I wish I had some. I'm going to have some soon. I'll share it with you guys. But yes, fermented garlic is black, and it's almost like the texture is a lot like a fig, and it's sweet, but has that hint of garlic. And oh my goodness, just thinking about it is making me hungry. And I do a lot of intermediate fasting. So right now I'm on an empty stomach. In fact, great thing I remembered. You know what? I am going to take something. I'm going to take something right now that I always try to remember to take around this hour on an empty stomach. So let's do that before I forget. And I like taking it with my hydrogen water. So it has 10 minutes to go. I don't know if I should either wait 10 minutes or just do it now, but you know what? I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait because I like the way it feels when I take it with the hydrogen water. So let's just wait. Maybe somebody remind me in 10 minutes. If not, I'll try to remember. You know what? The moment it beeps, let's see if I remember. Cool. And thank you, everybody. I got $14.44. That is awesome because that's about, it's funny, when I usually go buy my beets and my celery and my greens, it ends up coming to about 20 bucks. So thank you, guys. That's very kind. Let's see here. Okay. Shannon says, do you spend a lot of time outside every day to help with assimilation? Assimilation. Assimilation. You know, it's kind of weird. I feel like a dummy now. Because, I mean, I know what assimilate is, but let's just see. Assimilation. Let's see what the official definition of assimilation. Trying to understand your question. The process of taking in and fully understanding information or ideas. The absorption and digestion of food and nutrients by the body or the biological system. I mean, I will say that I do spend a lot of time outside. I do spend a lot of time outside. I try to do walking regularly because the science behind walking is really important. I mean, you know, they've shown, I think it's a 30-minute to a 1-hour walk every day works better than the best pharmaceutical antidepressant for depression. So that's one of many things. We also have a lymphatic system that pretty much mostly moves when we move, like walking and movement. I just think being outside is important, which is why I go out quite regularly. And it's funny, my mind, the way that I think about things, like some people will complain about living on the 3rd floor or having to go up and down stairs. Like I have a refrigerator in the garage and I have my smoothie stuff, and I oftentimes have to go walking all these stairs to get something I forgot. And of course, I could be like frustrated about it, be like, ah, dang it, I forgot to get this or that. But what I try to do in my life in general is I try to change my way of thinking so that I look at it in a more positive way and that I don't get frustrated. So, for example, if I forgot something, I think of going down the stairs as a form of exercise. So I'm like, okay, I'm happy to walk now because I can walk now and I couldn't before. And that was a big one because as a little kid, sometimes I'd be like, I don't want to walk anymore. I'd get tired and stuff like that. Now I'm very grateful to be able to do it. So going down the stairs, I just look at it as like, hey, it's a workout. I'm going to go down, I grab stuff, I go back up. That's the way that I look at it now rather than being upset that I forgot something or that I have to walk downstairs for something. So I shifted my way of thinking about it. And so that's something that I've done that has really worked for me in a lot of aspects of my life. Like a lot of people complain about, I don't want to exercise, and they get lazy about that. But I feel gratitude that I can actually exercise if I wanted to, or go for that walk. Even when it's extremely cold, I've had a lot of people tell me, well, geez, it's too wet, it's too cold, things like that. And I've purchased gear. I have like rubber shoes, which I don't need to show you my rain gear, but poncho and all sorts of stuff that doesn't matter, rain, shine, really hot. I remember I'd go for a walk when it was really hot and there'd be like nobody outside and I would do it. And then when it's extremely cold, like today is extremely cold, I went out there and there was nobody out there. And, I went for a walk. So I just always try to make the best of, well, no matter the weather, because otherwise you're always going to be complaining whether it's too hot, too cold, too rainy, too snowy. It's always going to be something. And just be grateful you can walk, and whatever the weather is, go for it. That's just, but I do like to be prepared as far as having the proper clothing because it can get really cold. Shannon says, I do the same thing, taking every thought captive and turning it to gratitude. Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, because otherwise, yeah, I think I already explained it enough on that one. But yes. And then as far as assimilating and really like, what would be the word? Just meditating on things at the end of the day, reflecting on a lot of stuff is always something that I do at the end of the day. The one thing I need to do these days, just because I have an opportunity to sleep in more lately, I've been sleeping in, and I take my time getting up in the morning. I don't like to rush. That's an issue, right? I don't like to rush because this is probably TMI for you guys. This is gonna be way too much information, but so I have certain things that I just think are absolute necessities for good health. Proper hydration, overcoming deficiencies, obviously, hydrogen. And I think, and walking, like there's these kind of basic things. And obviously stress is typically not good, but one of those things also is proper urination, keep things moving. But one of the big ones is bowel movements. Again, sorry, too much information, but so important to get that crap out of you, like literally get it out of you. And if I'm rushing, my body will be not ready to that. I literally have to be like, my body is almost like clockwork. And if I don't do certain things, then I will not have that BM. And I want that BM. It's like it's like a priority for me in the morning. Like I'm ready. I will drink the water. I will go make the smoothie. I will do everything to prepare my body for that moment to get that stuff out of me. And because back in the day, I mean, I don't even remember because I used to just go whenever I thought I would need to go. And I bet you I could go probably days without going and I didn't even think about it. And now it's become such a priority for me that if I don't do it, I'm not very happy. I'm like about it. I'm like, no, this has to happen. I really have to do this. And of course, consuming lots of fiber and hydrogen water has helped so much. In fact, that's something that I had a lot of people comment about, the way it affects the peristaltic muscles in the GI. And it's really, really been amazing. And I'm very happy with it. I found a lot of people complain that they have to pee too much when they're doing the hydrogen water. I'm like, guys, don't you realize that's a good thing? You want fluids moving. I mean, movement is such a critical part of life and health. You don't want, and I know it might be, what's the word I'm looking for? Inconvenient, but it's good for you. So that's all I can say about that. If anybody can tell me what movie that's from, you get a bonus point. That's all I got to say about that. Okay, let's see. We got 4 minutes to go. And there's probably enough hydrogen in there for me to, I guess I'll just continue to wait just because we're here. Okay. Actually, I might go do that here. In a second. Put this thing to sleep. But yes. You guys are a good crowd. We got a small crowd though. We'll see if we leave this video up this time. Hopefully we don't say anything that we shouldn't say. Okay, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna take my my night. This thing I'm gonna take here. There's only 3 minutes left, so there's definitely plenty of hydrogen in this. All right, let's see. Shannon says, we have a charcoal distiller, but have not been able to buy the top of the line that you suggested as of yet. Would you suggest we hold off on inhalation until we can? Well, if you're talking about inhalation from the Hydrofix, no, you don't have to hold off. You can use other types of water. I mean, you could technically buy distilled water, but no, I wouldn't hold off on it. If you have an inexpensive one, it would probably still be pretty good. I mean, cheap distillers still make pretty darn good water. I mean, they may not be the most convenient, they may break down sooner, they may not make exactly the same quality of water, but it's still very good. So let's see, what do you think about the book The Water of Life, written in 1918? I haven't read that book. Man, I'll tell you, if I read every book that everybody wanted me to read, whew, be reading all the time. Can you answer my question above, says Miss Allison 707. Okay. I didn't, Miss Allison, did I miss something? Let's see. Miss Allison 707. I don't see any questions above. I mean, I'm scrolling through them. I thought maybe, I mean, didn't I? Haven't I gone through every single one? Miss Allison. Miss Allison. I see Miss April. That's weird. I don't see any questions from Miss Allison. Let's see, who just wrote that? Miss Allison. So Miss Allison 707. I don't see anything from you above. Just above Shannon. Just above Shannon? Okay. Okay. Just above Shannon. Can you answer my question above? Right above Shannon. Well, ask it again because I don't see it. That's weird. Let's see here. Scrolling through them. There it goes. Right above Shannon. Right above Shannon. I'm literally, I mean, unless you're asking about the Paul Saladino one, but I thought I already answered that. Well, I did already answer that. Still scrolling. I don't see one question up here from Miss Allison 707. That's weird. I don't see it. Unless it got blocked for some reason. Because I literally, I mean, I'm going through every single one here. Boy, if anybody sees her question, just rewrite it. Because I don't see it. Nope, I went all the way back to the beginning. That's really strange. That, yeah, nobody sees it. Shannon says, I don't see it either. Let's see. Northern Yeti says, I don't see it either. Just repeat the question. Numbnut says, sometimes the messages don't show if there's blocked words from YouTube. Ah, dangerous. Wolf God says there's an audio book on UYT called The Water of Life. I recommend that you and audience very much. Shannon says I don't see it either. And Miss Allen says I just reposted it. Okay, well, we still don't see anything. Shannon says yes, it's around $260 for the charcoal distiller. Well, you say you reposted it, but well, look, if anybody else sees it, just still not there, Miss Allison. Word it differently. Yeah, try to make sure you're not asking anything that would, because if you ask something that's going to get this, well, the channel in trouble, obviously, I'll probably just delete this live video. And I know a lot of people like to have them kept up for whatever reason. So just be careful with the way you word things. You can put little stars, like put the letter S, star, star, and then a T or something or something like that. I don't know, just if you're trying to like, I don't know what you're trying to type in, but yeah. Okay, let's see here. He says, that's odd. The font on the question is in bold and it's not showing. And then Miss Allison 707 says, it's showing up on the lighter font again. Well, like we said, just, you could even type one letter at a time for words that you think might be of getting scrutinized, if you like. But that's interesting. Okay. Well, while we're waiting on that, I'm going to grab just a little bit more water. Just a little bit. Oh, by the way, thank you everybody for the thumbs up. And thank you for those donations. My goodness, $14.44. Thank you. Because obviously, this is kind of a labor of love, as they say. So let's see. My hydro machine is making a thumping noise about every 20 seconds. Well, if it's what I think it is, it's probably the bubbles that I've heard released make like a bing. But if you're talking like a thump, like bam, bam, like a thumping sound, that wouldn't be normal. What I would say is that's something typically that you'd want to obviously talk to the company about. They're the ones who would probably help you out with that. That's what I would suggest. I mean, it's hard for me to really diagnose an issue without actually seeing it and hearing it for myself. And I'm not a technician, I'm not a guy, mine, I've owned a lot of these, and a lot of my family members have too, and really no issues. But if you want to, I mean, I would say talk to the company. But if you really want to talk to me, you could always contact me probably over Skype, so I can actually see video of it and like hear it and whatnot. That's what I would recommend. But if it's a large thumping sound, no, just a soft thumping. Yeah, it's probably hydrogen gas that sometimes accumulates and then releases. It's normal if that's what's going on. Okay, let's see where we go here. GC118 says, how do I send money? Can someone fill me in? I definitely don't know how. I did have a donation thing on PayPal or Venmo. But if you guys do it on YouTube, that's, wow, thank you. I mean, again, I really appreciate that stuff. That's really amazing. Okay, Miss Allen 7, I've noticed it mostly when I inhale. Yeah, so, get back to me on that. And then let's see, tap on the super chat button to donate. Super chat. Miss Allen says, no, just a soft thumping. Yeah, the soft thumping like a, yeah, I think it's the hydrogen gas that can accumulate and sometimes release. You know, it's like a normal thing. Let's see. GC118, do you see the $ in the chat box? Hit it and go from there. GC118, I saw, but I can't seem to send it this way. A PayPal email? Yeah. Let me see if I have it here, because I'm on the phone that has all the info. But wow, thank you. Go ahead and use dustball27@hotmail.com, and if you can put in the notes, just say, you know, 4-H man, and just keep it at that. And you could put from let's see, GC118. I'll know it's you. So thank you so much. And if you can send it as friends and family, that's even better, because, you know, I think PayPal, I don't know how it all works, but I've heard that that's just a better way to go. But I don't know. I'm not super familiar with all that stuff, to be honest. I got some friends that are more computer savvy that would know better, but that's all I really know about. That's all I can say about that. Nobody ever did guess what movie that was from. Okay, so yeah, the email was dustball27@hotmail.com. Northern Yeti says, Miss Allison, I know that noise you are talking about. I think it's the white keeper. You should take that out when you inhale, though. Well, that's true. You should take it out when you're inhaling. And Shannon said, Forrest Gump, you're right. That's all I got to say about that. I don't think I'm like Forrest Gump, but apparently I've had some friends who are like, dude, you're like Forrest Gump. And I find that really odd, because I think he's funny, but I'm definitely not like Forrest. Are they saying that I'm a dummy? I don't know. I thought Forrest was always, I mean, I don't know. I like Forrest. I like Forrest Gump. People call me Forrest Gump. I like that movie too. I thought that movie was just fantastic, right? What was it? Funny, and had some historical stuff in it. It was it had some romance in there. It had some serious stuff in there about life, some wisdom. What a great movie. I don't know. That movie was so great. I thought it was really good. Elizabeth says Forrest Gump. Yeah, she knew too. Allison, Miss Allison 707. I do have the crown out when I inhale Northern Yeti. I'll try and find the contact number. I only received an owner's manual that I believe is written in Japanese. Yeah, they do a digital copy, because I've gotten a link for it before. And so just request it. I'm pretty sure they probably sent it to you. Maybe you didn't notice, but just ask for it and they'll send it to you, I'm sure. They're really good at getting back to you. Shannon says, I didn't know the line, but you sounded like Forrest Gump when you said it. That's all I got to say about that. Yeah, it's like talking from the South. I'm not very good talking like I'm from the South, but people tell me that I like chocolate. I do like to put raw cacao in my smoothie sometimes. In fact, raw cacao can be expensive too, and I've found, that reminds me, I just went shopping and I forgot to look for that. Big bags of it sometimes, just raw cacao, and it's pretty cheap sometimes. And I'm like, hey, if it's that cheap, I'm gonna put it in my smoothie, because all sorts of wonderful benefits from raw cacao. Laugh out loud, you do sound like Forrest Gump. Well, that's because I'm trying to sound like him. I don't think I sound like him on the normal level, but maybe I do. When you say chocolate, I like chocolate. But I don't like milk chocolate with sugar. What did I used to do? I used to take, like, this is like my way of cheating when I wanted to do like a dessert. I would get a really, really healthy piece of bread that has like all these nuts and seeds, like just a really healthy piece of bread. And then I would take, let's see, what did I used to do? Sometimes I would put like almond butter. You could probably put peanut butter. You know, don't have to, but that would be something that I would put on there sometimes. I would, how did I use chocolate? I remember using chocolate somehow. How did I do chocolate? I really got to remember this. Oh, because sometimes I would put coconut cream, just 100% coconut cream on top of it. And then I would maybe put raw cacao, or sometimes I'd have little nibs of just pure 100% cacao, because raw cacao is not really sweet and it maybe doesn't even taste that good, but I would put it on. And then I would take raw honey and kind of drizzle it. And it'd almost be like this like pastry or something that I created. And it would, the richness from the coconut cream, the raw honey brought out the sweetness. The cacao all of a sudden did taste like chocolate. And I would eat that. It's been a while since I made one of those though, but that was one of my healthier cheat days. I probably have stepped it up since then, but I don't know. But I don't mind having little cheat stuff here in once in a while. I feel like as long as I do, I actually try to do a lot of healthy stuff so that I can have my cheat things once in a while. A lot of my friends like to drink like microbrews, and they want to go and like go to a brewery. I got a good friend who really really likes breweries, and I used to like beer a lot more. I'm not as much of a fan anymore. I used to really like it. In fact, I used to always think like, geez, this is gonna suck. Always trying to never drink beer because I really like a good beer. But something must have happened along the way because, I mean, I'll have one once in a while, but I'm not as huge of a fan as I once was. So, with that being said, we'll go back to talking about chocolate. But yeah, chocolate's supposed to be really good for you. I think I used to do something. Oh yeah, I used to get these like this raw cacao. That's right. I used to get these raw cacao. Like it was like almost like a chocolate bar, but it was just chocolate with nothing else. And then I used to put like I would take a date. They're really sweet, and I would put them on there and I'd bite them together. Sometimes I put coconut cream on that too. Just trying to find creative ideas. Which Vitamix model do you have or prefer? Well, you know what I've learned about the Vitamix models is I would just go with the absolute cheapest one. Upon doing very deep dive into research about the Vitamix, I learned that they pretty much all have the same motor, and they're all pretty much just as good. The more expensive ones have what I would call stupid options that I really don't like. Like you push a button, it's supposed to like blend it at a certain rate and change the rate and all this stuff, which I just never liked because sometimes I'll turn it on and I like to be able to control it the way that I like to control it. And I would just go with the most inexpensive one is what I would do. And I like things that are manual. I don't, and they had like Bluetooth and then they had problems with them. The more expensive ones had more problems. Kind of like a car, you get a car that has a moonroof that starts leaking and all these power options and then things stop working. When it's more basic and whatnot, sometimes it's better. So that's all I got to say about that. If it doesn't answer your question, let me know, but yeah. And some of the older ones are pretty cool, but they don't offer them anymore unless you can find them where they're refurbished. And I do like the older refurbished ones because you get them even cheaper. And but yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with the new one too. I would just make sure to get a more basic one. Northern Yeti. I used to brew my own craft beer. Gave it up about 2 years ago. Haven't looked back since. Yeah, there you go, Northern Yeti. That's what my friend would do too. He used to make his own beer, and I gotta say, it was really good. It was really good stuff. I was very impressed with his beer making abilities. But yeah, I mean, when I did research, I found that beer is probably one of the most unhealthy forms of alcohol consumption. But I don't kick myself about it if I have it once in a while. It's just something that I shouldn't do regularly. I used to drink beer regularly, and it was not a good thing, I don't think. And, GC118 says, what are your thoughts on keto diet, particularly for those with brain issues? Look, ketosis and ketones, in my opinion, are quite amazing. There's definitely clear data that it's very good. The only problem is if you really want to go into ketosis, instead of doing a keto diet, and by the way, there's very, very big evidence. I could probably pull it up right now, but I already know that there is really big evidence on negative stuff about being on a, you know, um, about being on a keto diet where, you know, you're kind of consuming mostly just meat and eggs and things of this nature. But I mean, I've already seen this stuff. I saw that there was risks of it, you know, causing issues with the heart, causing issues with the kidneys, you know, and actually here, right here, the keto diet could cause, remember, this is definitely not um, medical advice or anything. I'm literally taking this off of, you know, PubMed. But it just says the keto diet could cause low blood pressure, kidney stones. That's a problem for me. And I've heard that it can overwhelm the kidneys. If you really want to see data on it, like actual data, again, go to nutritionfacts.org on YouTube, and then put nutritionfacts.org space and put keto diet, because he shows the data. But constipation, which we were talking about that a while ago, very important to move your bowels. Nutrient deficiencies, there's a lot of things that are lacking actually if you're just eating nothing but meat and eggs, and an increased risk of heart disease. And that was the big thing, increased risk of heart disease. If you were to do it for like a week, I think that would be okay if you really, really wanted to. However, if you were to fast for a week, I think it'd be much greater benefit than the keto diet. I just think balance is really what's best. It also says that strict keto diets could also cause eating disorders. That's kind of weird. It says keto is not safe for those with any condition involving the pancreas, liver, thyroid, and gallbladder. So, yeah, I wouldn't be on it too long. That's what I would say about that. So, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the whole keto diet, but I am a fan of fasting and ketosis, especially for brain. And I would also do the fasting with the hydrogen for maximum, you know, benefit for the brain, and also overcoming any deficiencies. That would be what I would personally do. Okay. Numbnut says, I used to drink 6 tall cans of beer and eat 6 cheeseburgers from McDonald's right before I sleep. Good times. But you know what? It's great, right? I miss cheeseburgers. Oh, I gotta say, I do. That's why I don't even like to think about it or talk about it, because then I just stay the course, and, you know, and I wait till I'm really hungry to eat, and it makes the things that I eat taste better. It's all the greens and all the weird stuff. I say weird stuff. I mean, it's like the most basic of things, just fruits, vegetables. Okay. But yes, 6 beers and 6 cheeseburgers. Holy cow, dude. How big are you? I don't even think I could have eaten or consumed all that. You must be a big guy, because I would have been done by 1 cheeseburger. By 2, I would have been so full. I don't know if I could finish a beer. I'd be bloated. Oh my goodness. I'd feel wrecked. Northern Yeti says, low carb always wrecked my electrolytes. GC118 says, I agree about potential negative effects about keto, hence my hesitation. Yeah, I mean, if you really, really wanted to do it, you could do it for a week, but I would do something else. That's just my opinion on that. Norma says, agree on the Vitamix, thank you. Yeah, save the money. Those stupid options, you know, the Bluetooth, like I don't need a Bluetooth to run my blender. I need to actually go there and put the stuff in the blender anyway. Fasting for temporary ketosis, then that's what I would do. I mean, you could even, I mean, I'm doing intermediate fasting already. I go 18 hours every day, 18 to 19 typically. But I would do 3, 4 days, 5 days, you know, something like that. You could do, you know, even if you just did 1 day a week, is pretty good, like a good 24 hours. Yeah. GC118 says, okay. Shannon says, how much Ezekiel bread would you think too much in a day, or recommended amounts? I know Ezekiel bread. I used to make my healthy little pastry. I wouldn't have more than 1 slice a day. I don't consume a lot of bread. I used to. I used to be a big carbo junkie. Is it good stuff? It's good stuff. Is it the best? I don't think it's the best. I don't think anybody makes the best out there. but I would have definitely no more than one slice a day. I think people eat too much bread. Just my opinion. Um, yeah, my main carbs, I try not to consume too many, but steamed rice with a meal, which I don't even do that often lately, just because when I would make it in my steam rice maker, I just end up having too much. Um, and then I end up not eating it, all of it. I like it fresh. So I have to make smaller amounts and then I end up just not doing it. And then I'm just like, forget it. I'll just eat everything else that I'm eating, you know? But yeah, I mean, carbs are very satisfying. It took me a very, very long time to overcome an addiction to carbs. Like I literally couldn't sleep unless I had a big bowl of cereal. And I love cereal. But you know, I'm over that actually, but it took a while. I think that a lot of our addictions to food are related to our gut. So once you finally get over the hump and transform the gut, which I've been doing for years, it really has helped. Shannon says, yeah, I was hoping too. I but I'm assuming she wants to say I put an avocado on it with black seeds. There you go. I am real confused about good grains. Yeah, I mean, you know, well, a lot of it is the way that they grow them these days and everything else, but I think that should be, you know, good. Always have a lot of vegetables, but if you put an avocado on there, um, maybe some other vegetable if possible. Yeah, but yeah, I don't even buy loaves of bread. If I bought a loaf of bread, I know it would end up going bad. And then I don't bring stuff into the house that I know is not good for me. That's kind of like my little motto. I just won't even buy it. You know what? I almost had a cheat day. I almost wanted to go. I think it was yesterday or day before. I don't know what it was, but I was craving. Maybe I'm pregnant. Shouldn't even say that. I was craving. What was I craving? I was craving those vinegar salt chips, like kettle vinegar chips. Oh man, I don't know why I was craving that. But I ended up not going to buy them. But if I would have bought them, I probably would have eaten them. And the truth is, though, they're oily, and oily stuff. I have a major problem with oily stuff. I get acne. It's no fun for me. I don't know what it is about oil, and I probably would have been okay with like 3 to 6 chips, and then I wouldn't have needed the rest of the bag. But I would have probably eaten the whole bag. That would have been delicious. I'm actually thinking about them right now, but I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, you reminded me of that right now. But I like vinegar chips. I don't know. I used to, gosh, we used to be these chips with like a lot of lime and like chili stuff sauce on it, and they'd get all soggy. That was in Mexico, South America. Ooh, that was good. I love rice cooked in coconut milk. Oh my God, so tasty. Yeah, you know, I really like I like Thai food. I like Thai food. I like Japanese food. I like a lot of the Asian foods. Um, Tostilocos. Tostilocos. Internet Explorer. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? We shouldn't talk too much about food because it's nighttime. I'm on an empty stomach. You're just making me hungry. You know, clearly it activates something in the brain and then my salivary glands, and then my body's like, are you going to feed me or what? And usually around this hour, I try it. I should probably stop this session. I think it's been, gosh, guys, it's almost been 2 hours. Okay. Oh, my goodness. So if anybody has any other questions, let's do that. And then shut her down for tonight. And we can do another one next time. I might have a little water while you guys, I'll give you a chance to come up with some questions. Better block this light. Okay. Let's see. Shannon says, yeah, here in Virginia again at 1:45. See what I mean? Well, guys, good hanging out. I was glad that I was able to be of service if I was. And hopefully I'll open up some different YouTube channels where I'll be willing potentially to talk about some other subjects. But the truth is, look, I'll tell you right now, no joke. Here, let me tell you, hold on. Always learning something. Thanks again, says Norma. I really want to unleash on some information on this one that I just think is going to be pretty life-changing. The only problem is that I really want to do it on a really large platform for the first time to release that info. And then after that, people can run with it, but I can't do it on a small platform. I won't do that again. I've done that before, and I will not repeat that. I actually done it way too many times. So I'm like, okay, you got to learn at some point. So yeah, with that being said, guys, I'm glad that we were all able to learn something today. Shannon says, yes, very grateful. Thanks more than you know. Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Everybody was extremely kind and positive today, which I always appreciate. So thank you so much for that, guys. And thank you for everything that everybody sent. That will go towards vegetables and probably some fruits. Yeah, I think we're good for today, guys. Everybody good? Everybody's good? Everybody time to go to bed? Okay. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for hanging out. See you guys on the next one. April gave a thumbs up. Thank you. A lot of hearts from everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Numbnut says good night. Good night. That's a great name. And Internet Explorer says good night. GC says thank you. Good night, y'all. Thank you, Greg. You're awesome. Wow. Thank you, guys. That's very nice. Internet Explorer, good night. Norma says thumbs up. And Elizabeth says hearts. So a lot of love. Norma, a lot of love. Everybody being real nice. Thank you for all the positive comments. This has been great. Everybody have a good night, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, Hayden says, thanks, Greg. You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us today. And all right, guys, see you next time on the next one. Peace to everybody. All right, till next.